Hey friends, welcome to my video. And so this is a new and fun video idea that I have for this upcoming year, where I have asked some of my friends, other booktubers, to recommend to me books. And I have a very specific need for recommendations, and so I am asking for their help to help me kind of flesh out some of my different reading tastes. So if you saw my book goals video, I am really going to deep dive into that this year. That's my number one goal, is to try and understand what I like in books, what genres, what tropes, what storylines, all that. And so I have asked for some help. And so in today's video, I am looking for help in the fantasy middle grade genre, if you will. So those types of books, I'm curious about them because I love Nevermore, I love Harry Potter, things like that. I've just always loved those books, but I don't really read much middle grade and I don't really read much fantasy, but those are some of my favorite books. So I have asked Amanda from the Curly Reader to help me with this. And so she made a video, so I'm gonna sit down with you and we're gonna hear her recommendations. I asked her for 3 books, and so we'll see which ones she recommends. And then my goal is to make this video into a reading vlog where I read the books she recommends, I react to them, I give my opinions, and then at the end I kind of assess my thoughts of like, do I like middle grade fantasy books? So I'm going to take you along for this journey, but first let's sit down at my computer and see what Amanda had to say. So again, thank you, Amanda, for helping me out with this.
Hey Angie, I'm so excited that you asked me to help you with this project, and yeah, I am excited to recommend a few middle grade fantasy books for you. I have 4 here. I know you asked for 3. I have 4. You can pick whichever 3 you want of the 4. How about let's do it that way? 3 of them I've read and 1 of them I haven't read yet, but it is really high on my list and I think that you're gonna love it too, so I wanted to include it as well. So the 3 that I have already read that I would recommend you give a try to. The first of which is Artemis Fowl by Owen Colfer. These are really, really fun. They're shorter. There's like, I think 8 books in the series, and they have to do with a like evil mastermind kid who steals some leprechaun gold in the first book and just kind of gets into this entire world of fairies and goblins and trolls, and it is so much fun. So I think that you might really like this one. And then, like I said, there's 8 in the series if you want to continue.
Okay, so Artemis Fowl. I have not read it. I have always wanted to pick it up. It's always been something I've seen. My little sister read it, I think when she was in high school. And so yes, that is a great recommendation. I love it. Okay, next one.
The next one that I want to recommend is also the first book in a middle grade series. It is a new series. The second book is coming out this year, but the first book is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. I think I got that right. I don't own this one, but I did read it this past year and I really, really liked it. This is very along the same lines as Harry Potter. It's not Harry Potter-esque in any way, shape, or form. It tends to lean actually a little bit more into the like sci-fi side of magic, with like high-tech things and things like that. But it is also a lot of fun. It follows a girl whose brother has gone missing, and then she finds a suitcase in his closet that basically lets her know that she has been selected to participate in this magic school. And so she goes to this magic school and it kind of goes from there. So I think that you will love that one as well.
That's a great recommendation. I'm so glad you made that recommendation. I actually just filmed a video where I was taking recommendations from some of my favorite booktubers, and I put that book, Amari, on my list because I was watching Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand and she loved that book. So it was already a book that I want to read this year, so that is a fantastic recommendation. So glad you picked that one. Okay, so let's go on to the next one.
And then the last one that I want to recommend that I have read, this is kind of weird because I'm recommending a book that I personally didn't care for that much, but a lot of people really, really love it. I don't read a whole lot of middle grade fantasy. It's not my huge forte, but I have dabbled in it, and I know that this one is much beloved amongst the book community. I just personally was not the biggest fan of it, and that is The Girl That Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This is about a little girl who the village that she lives in every year on the same day sacrifices the youngest child in the village to to a witch in the woods, and they think that they have to pacify the witch. Well, the witch every year on this day comes and wonders, why is this town just leaving a baby in the woods? I'm gonna take it to a home that will care for it. And so she transports the baby to the other side of the woods to a home that will care for it. Along the journey, she feeds the baby Starlight with her witchy magic. And this year, when this little girl is taken, she gets sidetracked and she accidentally feeds the baby Moonlight instead of Starlight. And so that imbues this child with magic of her own. And it's just about this child growing up, learning how to use her magic. You're also following the town that she came from and kind of what's going on there with the political climate and things like that. Like I said, this one, I personally was not a huge fan of it, but I know a lot of people really, really love it. And so I would love for you to give it a shot and see if you like it as well.
Yes, I have heard of that book. I've heard of a lot of people loving that book, and it has been on kind of a short list for me. So that was another good recommendation. You are doing so good. You are doing so good, Amanda. So let's see what the fourth book is for me. This is so much fun, honestly, guys.
And then the last book that I wanted to recommend is one that I have not read yet, but I plan to read this year. I'm really excited about it. I know a lot of people really, really love it, and that is Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. I honestly don't know a whole lot about this other than so many people rave about it, but it follows a 12-year-old girl, Sophie, and she has a secret. She's a telepath. And I think this has to do with elves and just fantasy things along those lines. These two tend to be a little bit thicker books. I think there's 8 or 9 in the series so far. And so, yeah, this is another beginning of a series that I think you might enjoy because I've heard so many good things about it. So I hope that you enjoy these books. I can't wait to see what you think of them. And once again, thank you so much for inviting me to recommend these to you.
Okay, so yes, Keeper of the Lost Cities, another good choice. My 12-year-old niece loves these books. I've been helping buy her those books, like one a year for Christmas sort of idea, and she just loves them. She raves about them. So that's a really fun choice as well. So thanks again, Amanda, because those are fantastic recommendations. I'm honestly excited about all 4 of those books. I have heard about all of them, but I have not read any of them. I'm honestly not sure if I can pick 3 of the 4 or if this is just going to become a 4-book vlog. We shall see. So yeah, I'm excited to get into this. I will see which of those books are at my library or if I can find some of them or if I'm just going to order some of them. I'm not sure. But I'll do that, and then the next time you see me, I will start reading one of the books. So this is fun. I'm excited to take you guys along with me on this little bit of a journey to see if I like middle grade fantasy books. Okay guys, so I wanted to pop on real quick with a little update as to my progress on the question of whether I like middle grade fantasy books. So as you just saw from what I opened up, I just decided to get all 4 books. Actually, middle grade books are not that expensive, so that's fantastic. And I just feel like I'm investing a bit in my kids too because they will like these books shortly. So as for what I picked up first though, I decided to pick up Artemis Fowl. I don't know if it was just this copy. Like, I feel like this book looks so cool. And it also looked like a quick, fun read. And so let me just kind of tell you a little bit more about this book. So like Amanda was saying, it's a fun book with like fairies and creatures and things like that. And yes, it is. I am really liking the character of Artemis. Artemis being like the billionaire, genius, criminal, mastermind sort of character. He's just been really fun. I've also gotten to the point in the book where we've met the main fairy, Holly, and he has just kidnapped her, which that's not a spoiler, that's on the back. But otherwise, none of these will be spoilers. So I'm really enjoying the character. I'm enjoying the pace of the book. It's really fast. It's a really quick read. Like, I can pick it up and put it down and not have to think too much about it, which I'm really enjoying. And I feel like the description of the world and the characters has been wonderful. So far so good. I'm really, really liking it. It's been fun and it's been a super quick read. Like I've only sat down once and read it, and I feel like I'm already a good 30% of the way through the book. So I'll probably finish this book and then update you as to what I think about it and how I'm... Hey guys, so I just wanted to update you really quick on how I am liking my middle grade fantasy books and how I'm feeling about middle grade fantasy. Like, am I liking it? Is it going to be a genre I turn to? All those things. So when I last left you off, I was reading this book. I chose this one first. I think it was because of the cover. I picked a really fun cover. So Artemis Fowl. So I highly enjoyed this book. It was a very straightforward book. It was very entertaining. I liked the characters. I felt like the plot was straightforward. Like, this is what I noticed. I don't know if this is true of all middle grade books, but the plot was very linear and it didn't like have a lot of tangents or didn't have a lot of plots going at once, like often happens in a lot of adult books where you have a lot of different things that are all going to kind of wrap up in the end, which I love in books. Like, that is some of the things that I really like. But this didn't have that, but it didn't like take away from the book. I felt like it did just what it needed to do because the audience is not me. I'm not the audience, but I really still was able to enjoy it. And I think because of a couple things. One, the characters were done really well. I don't know if anybody's read this, but I really enjoyed the character of Artemis, this like evil mastermind sort of idea, but he's also like a 12-year-old kid, right? And I think that's why I liked it, because I felt like, yes, his character, he's very smart. He figures lots of stuff out and it's very impressive, but he's also a kid. And you could see that kidness come through in his character every once in a while. Like, he wants to be tough and he wants to be like all-knowing and all of this stuff, but he still is pining after his dad, and there's stuff going on with his mom and it upsets him. And you're like, oh, you are still like a 12-year-old. So I liked that. I thought that was a good representation within this book. And so I appreciated that. I also really liked all the magical creatures. So of course it focuses on fairies. The idea is that Artemis kidnaps a fairy, which he does, and he keeps her in this house and all this stuff. And I liked all that. But I liked the character of Holly. I liked her boss. I liked the people who were trying to like rescue her and all of that. There was even a really fun dwarf character, which I really enjoyed, kind of this like shady dwarf. And it reminded me of a character out of Harry Potter. It reminded me of, what's his name? Mundungus Fletcher, where he's just kind of this shady character. I don't know. I thought that part was like laugh out loud funny. I definitely laughed out loud at some of his antics. So I enjoyed it. I'm giving it 4 stars for just a really enjoyable book. So far so good on middle grade fantasy. Now I feel like this type of a book is for even younger audience than say like Nevermore, which I believe is marketed more as a middle grade story. Although I feel like it probably straddles middle grade young adult. But this is solidly in middle grade in my opinion. So I finished that. So I have a few more from Amanda's recommendations. And the one that was calling to me the most was this one, Amari. Oh my gosh, you guys, I've heard so many good things about this book and so many people have loved it. And so I just wanted to give it a shot, and I am loving it so far. It gives me way more Nevermore vibes. Like, this feels like kind of a little bit older than Artemis, but so good. So good. It's about this girl who's looking for her brother. She ends up in his world, which was this world of the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs. And she's just tossed in, which reminded me again of Morgan from Nevermore. So she's just tossed into this world. And I have gotten to the point in the book where they're kind of going through their initial ceremonies when this group of students kind of first gets to the academy, and they've learned some things about themselves and they choose what career they want to kind of focus on. But all of that's good and all of that's very entertaining. But what I really like is I really like Amari's character. I also feel like she's well written for being however old she is. I really do forget. Probably like 12, 13, but she is very accurate to that age, I feel like she really acts that way. Like she doesn't think through her actions very well. She's very impulsive, but I also like her bravery. I like how she stands up for herself. I like where she is bullied, but she feels that, like it hurts her, but yet she stands up against it, both kind of in the outside world and within this academy setting. And so I have really enjoyed the character of Amari. I am like fourth of the way through or something like that, so I'm not too far. We're definitely still in setup, but I'm really liking it. This one has drawn me in even more because I feel like there are a few more plot lines going on that you're curious about and that you really want to see get wrapped up, or really want answers to, like what happened to her brother, stuff like that. So anyway, I'm gonna leave you here, and I'll probably catch back up with you with this book probably when I finish and pick another one. So I'll get back to you shortly. Hey guys, so I wanted to hop on and do a quick update on how I am liking my middle grade fantasy books and just this whole vlog in general. It's been a bit sidelined for a bit because we got COVID, and you can kind of still hear it in my voice because it's taking a while to get better. I mean, my kids got better quickly, which was great, but my husband and I have been a bit on the struggle bus, and so I know you guys probably won't even see this till like February, and I'll be long past it, but I just really needed to hop on and share all my thoughts and feelings about Amari because I loved it. I thought it was such a fun book. It ranks up there in my head with like Nevermore, my enjoyment of Nevermore, which I really, really liked. And I feel like there's definitely a difference between this book and Artemis Fowl. This feels like an older middle grade book, and not necessarily because of the age of the characters, more just because of the complexity of the plot. I felt like the plot line had more things going, it had more characters, it had more things happening or things that needed to be figured out in comparison to Artemis. So Artemis, I feel like it's a really good starter middle grade, which I'm glad I found because I'm going to collect them for my kids because I think they will really like them. I think they'll really like this one too, so I'm glad I have it. But like I was saying before, I really liked Amari's character, and I still do. I still think she was one of the best parts of the book. I also really liked the atmosphere of the agency. I thought that was just really fun. I really like the magic school setting. It is just a trope that will always get me. I don't know if it's because Harry Potter is such a comfort read for me, or if it's just because I love academics. I have always loved academics. I mean, I homeschool my kids. I went on and got my PhD, all these things. I just love academics. So I think that actually might be it more, is I just have always enjoyed that world. And so for me, I knew that this would be kind of a leg up because of the world it was in. And so it definitely was. But it also felt very middle grade in the sense of the plot made sense. You could almost predict the ending a little bit, but yet it was still entertaining. So I thought that was really good. As for how I'm feeling on this little experiment of mine, I say good. I'm really enjoying middle grade fantasy. I think I enjoy a little bit more of this upper level middle grade, probably borderline YA fantasy. Oh, it was really good. I think it'll be a genre that I want to continue with. I know that there's a second book coming out for this, and so I already plan on getting it. So that is a good sign. And so as for what I'm going to be reading next, so I already started a little bit of this. I started it on audiobook, which I really have enjoyed so far. I've enjoyed the audio part of this one, and so this is the only book of the three that's not a series, but yet I'm really enjoying it. So it's called The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. It's a popular one. I feel like a lot of people have read it. I am really at the beginning of it, where it's really setting up the town and what does it take for a town to believe that they have to sacrifice a baby, I think every year, to the woods, to the witch, all these things. And I've just entered the first chapter with the witch. So it's totally different than the magic school setting, but I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I will hop on and update you a little bit later, but I hope you all are doing well, and yeah, I'll catch you soon. So where I left you off is I was just starting this book, and then I decided to stop because I know this is just a standalone. It's not a series. And I decided I'm going to hold on to it for middle grade March. So I put that one down, and I decided I'm not going to read it for this vlog. And that way I can read the last book and kind of round out the vlog and round out my thoughts and feelings and keep it more to middle grade fantasy series. And really, I just really wanted to pick up this book. So I picked up this book, Keeper of the Lost Cities. This is by Shannon Messenger. I didn't even know that. I haven't read the author's name yet. But this book has been really fun. It is about this girl named Sophie. This girl named Sophie, who's 12 years old. She is a telepath, so she can hear other people's thoughts. She has for a very long time, and she just was not fitting in to her everyday normal life. Just being able to hear everybody's thoughts, hear her parents' thoughts and her sister's thoughts, things like that. And she just felt like a big outcast until she meets this boy named Fitz. And he kind of changes things. He shares that he also can hear people's thoughts, and he has a lot to share with her. Like, he knows things that she doesn't know. She belongs somewhere in more in his world than in her own. And especially during the beginning of this book, it goes into that, where he shares a lot of things with her and he brings her into his world, and she is kind of tossed in. So in that way, I feel like it reminded me a bit of Nevermore, where she's just tossed in. She's like, I'm not a part of this world. How did I even get here? Harry Potter's similar in that, where they just like are tossed in to a world that they didn't even know existed, and everybody else knew it existed except for them. So they're playing a lot of catch up. It's definitely a magic school trope, so that she is going to different classes. She has to learn about her giftings and things like that. So she has like classes, and there's a school, and that's just fun. I definitely feel like this is written to more of that middle grade audience, because it's so focused on friendships, which I just love. I'm getting to know her character, and I'm starting to really like her character as she's feeling very lonely, and then she's trying to figure out if she can fit in here, make friends. So yes, I am thoroughly enjoying this book, and I'm not quite sure where it's going. It's like an 8-book series. So I know this book is setting things up, which I feel that too, because there is a lot of like loose ends, or like where she's being told like, you can't know that, you're not old enough, we're not going to tell you that. And you know she's going to figure all that stuff out. It's just not right now. And I like how the author's doing that, because it's making me want to know, like, what are those things? What are the things she needs to know? What are the things these guys can't tell her? Yeah, so there's some just really heartwarming stuff going on here. I am like halfway. It's very fast. It's a fast read, so hopefully I'll be able to update you a little bit before I get to the end. But right now, it's just enjoyable to watch her character start to grow and hopefully get some good friends. So that's my update so far. What is funny is I've just found that like this was the perfect time to investigate middle grade fantasy, because one, fantasy just takes you away from your life. It's very transportative, but middle grade is very straightforward and easy to read. It doesn't hurt my head. And we've just had so much going on. And so this month I needed these kinds of books. So I'm just so thankful that I reached out to Amanda and we did this for like January, February. So I'll let you know my thoughts at the end and kind of my thoughts overall about middle grade fantasy, but I'm sure you can sense that I'm liking it quite a bit. So anyway, I will check back with you guys soon. Hey guys, so I have finished all of the books. I'm going to update you on my final thoughts on this book. This book is so good. Probably my favorite, but let me get into that. And then I'll just kind of conclude this video. It's been a really fun video / experiment where I'm just trying to figure out what I like. So I'll stop yammering at you and I will just sit down. I didn't clean very much. It's all still left over from homeschool. We just got done. My kids are downstairs. I don't know what they're doing. So I just thought I would hop on here really quick before they get too loud. Okay, so final thoughts. So I highly enjoyed this. I feel like the last time I updated you guys, I was about halfway through. I was really getting to know Sophie's character. I was figuring out kind of what the world was like and what she was up against. But the second part of the book, it just felt like there was so many things going on. Like, it did feel like almost too many things. Like, this poor girl had so many things happen to her, and she was definitely the center of a lot of it, where either she caused it or something about her that she didn't understand causes it, and people have lots of different opinions about her. And so that has been really interesting. I feel like this book has definitely been a really good setup book for the series to come, because I looked it up and there's like 8 or 8.5. I'm not sure what the half is about, books in this series, and I have already ordered the second book in the series just because when I got to the end of this, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And I'm so thankful that I'm behind on this series because I can just binge the whole series as opposed to waiting, because like with Amari, I have to wait. I'm excited. I'm excited that the next book is coming out, but I have to wait for it. And these, I don't have to wait for. I just ordered it off of Amazon. I probably should have tried to find a used copy, but I just want to know what happens. And so I really enjoyed that. I felt like it ended kind of on a cliffhanger where you're just curious about what's going to happen to her next. Not a total cliffhanger. Don't get me wrong. It ended well, but like what's going to happen in the series is very much on my mind when I finish this book. And so I highly enjoyed it. I feel like it is not so far on level with Harry Potter. I feel like with Harry Potter, it is actually a simpler, more straightforward plot, which I liked. It was kind of like Harry Potter. There's like one bad guy. There's Harry. He has to figure out a bunch of stuff. There's one place he has to be, which is like Hogwarts. And it has a lot of similarities to that. Like it has that magic school that I just love, but there's a lot more unknowns. Like you're not sure what she's dealing with. She's not sure what she's dealing with. And it feels like almost the society as a whole, like this elven society does not know what's going on. As opposed to like with Harry Potter, it was just very clear. And I feel like that actually was better. This is intriguing me. Like I want to keep going, but I feel like the clarity of Harry Potter is hard to beat. So here are the 3 books that I read for this vlog. So just to recap, I enjoyed them all. I felt like Artemis Fowl was an excellent story. Actually, I have had my son already listen to the audiobook and he really liked it. So in order of like age range, I feel like this is probably the youngest. And then I would put these 2 on a similar level as probably like late middle grade, early YA sort of time frame, because they're both still very much about friendship and finding your place in the world. This dives a little bit into like flirtation and crushes and things that are very cute like that, more so than Amari, I felt like. So to answer the question, do I like middle grade fantasy books, especially fantasy series, because all 3 of these were in a fantasy series? And the answer is yes, definitely. But I also have found out that I like magic school middle grade fantasy books best. Like I feel like that is a trope I'm really enjoying because it's like Harry Potter, Nevermore, these 2 books. As where I did enjoy Artemis Fowl, I didn't enjoy it as much as these other 2 books. And that's just my take, because I know some people who just really don't like the magic school trope and they just don't like that in their books, but I really do. And so I know that I will pick up any middle grade book that has like a solid magic school plot. I would be interested in picking up and seeing if I like. I mean, I feel like these are some of the heavy hitters that a lot of people are picking up, but I would be interested in picking up some more that aren't quite so popular as well. So this was really fun, and I'm really glad that Amanda helped me out. Thank you again, Amanda. This has been fantastic. It's been really fun to kind of investigate this aspect of my reading life. So that's the end. I feel like I'm not sure if I did a great job of explaining the books. It's just hard for me not to give it all away. I want to talk about all the things, all the details of the books, which I can't really, but that's okay. So yeah, this has been fun, and I'm going to do more of these. I have a few planned. I just have to figure out who I can ask that would be willing to do this for me, like Amanda was so kind and generous to do. So I have a couple, like I'm interested in potentially like detective mystery type novels, ones with a specific detective that are potentially series, because I'm interested in getting more into those types of books. So I want to know if I like those. And then some other ones, I do want to try more science fiction. I feel like I've been reading more fantasy, but I'm curious about science fiction. I always feel like those books seem very like heavy and detailed, so I'm not sure. So anyway, I'm going to end the vlog here. Successful vlog, successful experiment. So if you like this, if you like this type of video where I'm trying to investigate my reading taste, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already subscribed. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next book video. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.